All right, call this meeting to order. Let's start off with our pledge leaders.
Okay, where is Jason Clark, Lily Nell, Peyton Gallinger, and Hendrix Joyner. Hey, okay, you're Jason, right? I'm going to start with Jason. So, all these kids go to Cloverland. Jason is a third grader in Mrs. Bellinger's class at Cloverland Elementary. He stands out as a leader among his classmates because he is responsible and kind. He soars in all academic areas and committed to enriching the classroom community. Each day he brings his smile, enthusiasm, and a joke to share during our morning announcements. In his spare time, Jason likes to spend time exploring the world around him and visiting his friend's farm. He's not sure what he wants to be when he grows up, but he knows he wants to have a lot of different animals. Whatever Jason wishes to pursue, he achieves because he's committed to his excellence and his fine character. That's Jason Clark. There you go, Jason. Jason. You're funny. Okay, our next one is Lily. Here, Lily. Hi, Lily. How are you? Okay. Lily is a second grader in Mrs. Quinta's class at Cloverland Elementary School. She enjoys school and spending time with her family. Her favorite thing to do during the summer is go on her pontoon boat. I like that. She also likes to visit her aunt who makes really cool things, and she loves to style her mother's hair. Lily's favorite subject is math, but she excels in all areas academically. Lily works very hard every day, completing her work neatly and thoroughly. She stays focused on the task at hand and is always willing to help others when she is finished. Lily displays each and every one of her character traits we look for in our Cloverland Cougars, including caring, responsibility, patience, honesty, respect, teamwork, forgiveness, motivation, and perseverance. That's Lily. Our next one is Peyton Dollinger. Peyton is a bright, cheery, well-rounded first grader in Mrs. Bentley's class. Peyton is an amazing classmate in Cloverland Cougar. She has excellence in reading and math. However, Peyton prefers arts and crafts. Me too. She is an extremely creative artist, creating a working two-dimensional gumball machine. Peyton inspires her classmates to do their best work and be creative as well. She enjoys dressing up for Spirit Days and always shows school spirit with her fun hairstyle. One day, Peyton hopes to be a teacher. She loves animals, soccer, her family, and her friends. That's Peyton Dollinger. Our next one is Hendrix Joyner. Hendrix is a kindergarten student in Mrs. Shoemaker's class at Cloverland Elementary School. Every day that he comes to class, he brings with him a love for learning and art. He demonstrates a ton of interesting knowledge about trains and the Titanic. He always has a positive attitude and can build any Lego set you place before him. When Hendrix grows up, he wants to be a train engineer. He loves his mom, dad, and family. His favorite book is The Polar Express, and his favorite thing to do at home is put together Legos. Hendrix is patiently waiting for his mom to buy him the Titanic Lego set because it has 9,090 pieces. One piece of advice Hendricks would like to pass on is for people to spread love and kindness. Today means a lot to Hendricks because his dad is currently serving our country and is deployed overseas. Okay? Come right here. We got to turn and face the flag. You guys are going to start the pledge, okay? You ready? You go. Great job.
And you guys don't have to stay if you don't want to, so if the parents want to leave, that's fine.
Thank you for coming.
Yes, appreciate it. That'll open up a few more seats. All right, moving on. Report on actions taken in closed session. Item 2.2.1, the board voted unanimously to place employee 003570 on a 30-month rehire list pursuant to Ed Code 45195. On item 2.3, do I read this whole thing? No, just right here, got it. So on item 2.3.1, personnel matters. The board met in closed session to discuss classified layoff of 2 positions due to the expiration of a specially funded program. The board will vote on an item, action item 12.6, approval of resolution 242512, the reduction or discontinuance of service. The action will require a roll call vote. We'll get to that when we get to 12.6. And item 2.4, for public employment for the position of superintendent, the board met in closed session and voted unanimously with 1 member absent to approve the contract extension of the superintendent's contract, which will be ratified in open session. Back to here. That's 4.0. 5.0, approval of agenda items for this meeting. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda items?
So moved.
Go ahead.
So moved.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So announcement 6.0, recognition of Joseph Yagligian. Did I say that right? Yagligian? Yes. I knew I was going to mess that up. That's all right. For the 2025 National Merit Scholarship finalist, Principal Mike Moore, you want to speak on that?
Yes, just to give you a little background, each year about 1.6 million students take the PSAT. So roughly 16,000 make it to where Joseph's made it. So the top 1%, and if we look at it by state, so each state has a little bit different. So to be the top 1% in California is pretty impressive, to say the least. Joseph, he was also part of our academic decathlon team. It's going to state. He's the individual who had over 7,000 points just last weekend. He was on the Science Olympiad team that qualified for regionals. He's going to state for that. So it's like the trifecta I told him when I was. Yes! Stuff. So Joseph Yagligian, our recipient of the National Merit Finalist, top 1%. That's what it looks like right there. So. And Joseph's young. He could actually be a junior right now. So we're trying to get a red shirt out of him here, come back one more. I don't know what to do to him about that yet, but
For item 6.2, recognition of the honor choir participants, also Mike Moore.
Yes, unfortunately, a few of our members couldn't be here tonight. I think they're partaking in the drama production of Mean Girls. So, but what we do have here is Isabella Cormelingas. She's a sophomore, soprano, as well as Ellie Randall. She's also a sophomore, also a soprano. Our altos, they couldn't make it for whatever reason. I think maybe forced their way out. So these are two of our 5 who made the honor choir. Again, Mr. Mills, their teacher, is here as well. New to us, so we're expecting great things with Mr. Mills to continue moving forward. Mr. Mills, any words to say about that?
Yeah, just briefly. So this was on January 31st, and we were invited. It's been a couple years since our school has participated. There's about 120 students on stage, about 8 different high schools, so 5 students, and just very proud director, so thank you.
And then we'll get these to the students. All right. Thank you, Ms. Moore, appreciate it. Can I get one more round of applause for those students? Actually, please. Really impressive, that's really impressive. Item 6.3, recognition of the Measure G Campaign Committee. Mr. Mendonça.
Thank you. We wanted to have a special recognition tonight because, as we know, Measure G is a school bond that's going to be able to provide a rehabilitation and modernization of all our schools and all of our operational facilities that's become desperately needed because our schools are quite old. And so time's come to where we need a really comprehensive rehabilitation effort. The board passed a resolution to take it to the voters to see if a bond measure would be accepted. And anytime you put a bond measure out to the community, to the voters and the property owners, it's taken very seriously by those, obviously, who are affected. Many questions and sometimes some controversies can come from these initiatives, but the community of Oakdale and the community of Oakdale is especially attentive and discerning to these kind of matters. But understanding this, the district was fortunate to have a group of courageous and committed individuals who came together, put in a tremendous amount of time and effort to make sure that our community was well educated. Not to coerce, not to try to sell something, but just to make sure that our community, our voters, knew what the measure contained and what they voted for, so that we could have a very informed electorate to make sure that the community made a right choice without this. So without educating the voters of the details, there could have been a lot of misunderstandings or misinformation about Measure G. Therefore, due to those efforts, our school board would like to publicly acknowledge those individuals that took the time and made that effort. So therefore, I'd like to formally introduce our campaign committee members. There were a lot of other individuals that worked and helped out during the time, but we met weekly, religiously, every week, same time, same place, and we really had a complete group of people that were committed and really put out a huge effort. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce those people. Once I introduce you, if you can wave and just stand, and please stay standing until we have the group. I do want to make this just a special acknowledgement. Most of all, overall chairman, the person that was the lead chairman of the entire committee that had to make sure everything was coordinated. My deepest and our board's deepest appreciation to Mr. Eric Cadlin. Tremendous amount of appreciation for the courage and the commitment it took to lead the whole thing. We had subcommittee chairs along with that. Marketing and social media, we had Diane Klein and Amanda Hensley. Terry Taylor, Chet Mahita, and Tom Orvis spearheaded Terry, the lead chair, but the others for our endorsements committee. So thank you. very difficult and time-consuming job. The financials and the fair political practices process, really tremendous amount of work there. My deepest appreciation for the expertise and the handling it so well, Belinda A. Bell. Thank you. Police Chief Jerry Raymar, I don't know if I see him, but he was a co-signer and worked with the financials as well. So Police Chief Jerry, thank you very much.
They're still working on stuff.
No, he got closed
Okay, good.
on Friday.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Clayton Skemper headed up our volunteers committee. So Clayton. As well as other committee members that were involved in all these committees. Mike Tozzi, Jim Oliveira, David Kindred. David? Marty Foria, past educator and committed to the career here. Jay Gilbert, Jeff Steves. Jeff told me he couldn't make it tonight, but appreciate Jeff. City manager or past city manager Brian Whitemeyer. He's gone to Folsom, but we definitely appreciate all that he's done. Lee Medlin, is Lee here? No? Lee, we put in tremendous time. Scott A. Bell. Scott put a lot of effort and appreciate Scott's effort. So, two more members, Henry Raven and Jamie Wiley. I don't see them here, but I would certainly want to say my deepest appreciation to those. Committee, did I forget anybody, or did I? Catherine Medlin, please stand up. I had Lee, but it says Lee and Catherine. So Catherine Medlin from the district office. Again, tremendous amount of effort, and without you guys, we wouldn't have been able to do what we did. So
And Larry, we couldn't have done it without you.
well, thank you for
exactly
that.
right. That's exactly
You're very
right.
organized, and I thank you.
Thank you for that, but again, it's the committee that got it done. So again, one more time if I could. Appreciate you coming tonight, thank you.
Thank you for saying something. All right, 7.0, organizational reports. To representative of the Oakdale Teachers Association, Omar Salinas.
Good evening. Thank you for your time. First off, thank you to Superintendent Mendoza and Board Member Taylor for joining me at the school board dinner at the beginning of February, and look forward to having more members next year. And it was good, nice, good talk. So I enjoy that. We are on the first day of the fourth quarter, at least at the high school and junior high level, and we're hitting the ground running and ready to, get these students ready for all their finals and all the cool stuff we got going on in the spring, which I'm sure Landon will cover. But with plays, drama productions, music productions, athletics, everything where teachers and students are involved together, working together. So really looking forward to a very productive spring semester, or fourth quarter spring semester, and finishing the year strong. All right, thank you very much. Have a good one.
Representative for CSEA, Kyle Lawrence.
Good evening, members of the board and the staff. I'd like to introduce myself, Kyle Lawrence. I'm a lead mechanic of transportation, also a member of the negotiations team and Sergeant Arms for CSEA. Jake couldn't make it here tonight, so I'm filling in for him. Throughout the year, the negotiations team has diligently worked for several key initiatives. These negotiation initiatives were minimum wage, the MOU for maintenance and operations contract times, language requirements for tentative agreement, and wages. Recently, our members held a vote on these important items, and with an overwhelming majority in favor of all of them, the chapter has successfully achieved its objectives. Additionally, there is a vote for a negotiations position between Linda Newman and myself. I'm grateful for everyone who voted for me, and I continue to work with the team and members to ensure their best interests are served. The negotiations team has dedicated a substantial amount of effort to reaching these agreements. While there were initial challenges when we commenced working with the new team from the district, we managed to overcome them and secure a final favorable offer from the district regarding wages. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the negotiations team, including Jake Cox, Jared Tank, Carrie Barrios, Monica French, and Sunshine Irvin. I would also like to thank and acknowledge the district's negotiation team led by Jose Sanchez, Brandy Carey, Cassandra Booth, Kat Songer, Jeff April, and Catherine Medlin for invaluable contributions and the time. And with that, we have kind of stale at new members. We got a couple new classified employees that are kind of on the fence so far, but they're kind of waiting to see how things play out on their paycheck side versus, what's going on with the union side. But other than that, that's what we got.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
For item 7.3, report by Student Board Representative Landon Arnold.
Hello, I hope everyone's Monday is going well. As we get closer to the end of the year, there are a lot of exciting events happening at the high school. But first, I had a report to give on some of our other schools in the district. Valley Oak Online just completed a WASC visit last week, and it went very well. Also at Eastham High School, they just had the third quarter end and had 10 students complete the graduation requirements. Also at the Charter, they will be visiting Fresno State along with working with the Rotary Club to make hanging angels for children in the Sacramento Children's Hospital. Over at the high school, we just passed our annual audit for ASB, and it went very well. We also had a successful staff chili cook-off, and leadership is going to be preparing for Mustangs Be Nice Week and prom, which will be May 3rd. Upcoming, all of our spring sports have started up, and we also have our academic decathlon team, which will be heading over to state on March 20th. And just this past weekend, our Model UN Club traveled to UC Berkeley for a conference. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you.
While we have Landon, I just wanted to mention as an announcement and a congratulations to Landon for receiving the Junior Achievement Award from the Chamber of Commerce at their dinner a couple Fridays ago, or Friday before last. So
Thank you.
I didn't know that. That's awesome. Cool. All right, let's move on to public comments. Public comments will be allowed. The board president will recognize any member of the audience wishing to speak on items not on the agenda, but directly related to school business. The president may allot time to those wishing to speak, but no action will be taken on matters presented. Individuals speaking may be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each item. The board may limit the total time, for public input on each item to 20 minutes. With board consent, the president may increase or decrease the time allowed for public presentation, depending on the topic and the number of persons wishing to be heard. If appropriate, the president or any member of the board may be directed that a matter be referred to the superintendent's office for placement on future agenda items. Do we have any public comments?
We have 5 regarding girls soccer or soccer coach.
Okay.
Good.
So we'll shoot for that 20-minute marker, but there you go. So we'll start off with the
Avery
first one.
Elves.
Hello, my name's Avery Alves, and I'm the goalkeeper for the varsity soccer team at the high school. And I just wanted to stress how easily the coach, Kiko Maneras, was able to take away such an important and sacred year in my life. No matter how much I tried to speak out or communicate with him, I was always shut down and told that he was being looked at closely and he wouldn't be able to pull his shenanigans again. However, that was not the case. Kiko and I both agreed after our meeting at the beginning of the season that we wanted to move on from how we acted the previous season and at least try to have a normal coach and player relationship where we continue to communicate with each other. I kept up my side of the agreement by showing up for my team and being a positive role model for the younger girls on the team. Kiko, however, made it his mission to tear me down every chance he got, whether that was telling me I would be benched 5 minutes before the game started or not giving me any sort of recognition at all for the countless amounts of hard work I'd put in my last season with Oakdale Soccer. My stats have even improved this year with a goals against average of 0.6 overall and only 3 goals allowed during all of the league season, despite his attempts at sabotaging my senior season. Last year, Kiko awarded me Player of the Game 4 times on Max Preps, and this year I was given that achievement a total of 0 times, yet was awarded Player of the Week by the Oakdale Leader and featured in the paper numerous times throughout the season. So how is Kiko's behavior towards me not an intentional and personal attack on my family and I? I wanted to end my career at Oakdale High on a positive note, but unfortunately because of the way Kiko was allowed to behave, it is impossible for me to do that. Thank you.
Gina Alves? Gina? Okay.
Now I gotta think out of my daughter.
Okay.
I'm gonna do my best. Okay, so obviously, as you've heard, my daughter is a very respectful member of the high school. She has shown nothing but the utmost respect. And we had major valid concerns last year at the end of the season. Towards the end of the season, like her red flags started showing up during the end of the school year. And I had several meetings with Mr. Sanchez and laid out all of our concerns, which I was told my daughter would not be retaliated against. They would protect her, they would address my concerns, and they would get to the bottom of it. And I literally saw 0 action taken against this coach. He acknowledged how valuable of a player she was her sophomore year, her junior year. She got all the accolades. Her sophomore year, she was second team VOL, all team. Her junior year, she was first team VOL, like she's an outstanding athlete, but a better person than she's an athlete, but she's an outstanding athlete. This year, after I turned in my formal complaints in the summer, and starting off with tryouts, she was belittled, she was humiliated, she was retaliated against, she was told, you are no longer the starter on this team, you are to mentor and just build up the freshmen that I'm going to bring up from JV because she is the future of this team. You may or may not start. You have to accept that because you have to be the better of the team. You have to be the better person, all of which she didn't deserve. She is such a true athlete. She is there for her team. She went out with a positive attitude. She didn't deserve any of that. And this all happened after I turned in my complaints. And every time it would happen, I would email Mrs. Klein, I would email Jose, I would email and say, please protect my daughter. All of this stuff had happened in the past few years. I turned in the complaint and now everything is going against her. Please stand up for her. Not one thing. Every time I would make an email, they would get worse towards her. She would be shut down. She would say, people, why are you benching me? I thought we were going to start over. I thought we were going to be on the same page. I want to play for this team. She had been on the team for 3 years. He said, go sit on the bench. I don't want to discuss it with you. He would dismiss her, wouldn't say anything to her, put her down. We've been told that, it hasn't come out yet, but we've been told she's not first team VOL this year, even though she had 13 shutouts. Her entire stats are way better this year than last year. And the coaches all come together and agree on first team. And the coach has to put the player up to be considered for first team. He did not put Avery up to be considered for first team. And from what we hear, the goalkeeper who did it was from another high school. She's a freshman. Her season was 5-5-2. She had 17 goals against her. Avery had 3 goals against her all season. So if you just look at the stats alone, unfair treatment, nothing has been done to keep them under control, even though I was told time and time again, oh, we don't tell a coach what to do. We don't tell our coach how to coach. We don't tell our coach who to play. And I said, I'm not telling you how to coach, I'm telling you hold him accountable. Please, hold him accountable for his actions. He is blatantly holding my daughter down. She literally got 0 acknowledgement, except for, she was in the newspaper every week. Her picture was there, all the accolades that she has done, and she is a true team player. She showed up for her team every single game. She gave it her all, even when she was on the bench. When he would bench her as a senior for a freshman who didn't even start off practicing with the team, he brought her up from JV, which is good for her, but he would not start. The person who took them to 2 championships left her on the bench, and she would sit on the bench cheering her team on, cheering the goalie on, acknowledging everything and being a positive role model. There were 6 seniors on the team this year, 5 of which who are returning starters every year. He made 4 captains, not Avery. Avery said, Coach, I thought, I'm a director I'm very vocal when I'm in goal. I direct my players, I run my team. Why would you not consider me for captain? He said, well, if they can't fulfill their duties, then you would be the next in line, which we all know he would manipulate situations and say things and never follow through. Our senior captain got hurt second game in. Did he make Avery captain? Absolutely not. Senior night, they did a whole captain exchange. He gave the captain band to a sophomore. Never acknowledged her, never gave her any positive praise, and yet she continued her whole time. There was a college coach that came to see one of the showcases. She said, Coach Kiko, there's a college coach here to see me. And he said, I don't care, you're not starting. The freshman is going to start. Even though, as a high school, do we not want our kids to go to college? Should we not raise them up and let them be acknowledged on all of their achievements? He didn't care. He threw her aside and said, you're not starting, I don't care who's here to see you. That's actually the college she committed to. So that coach that was a very important night. He didn't allow that to happen. Thank God that coach was understanding. And that's where she's committed to. She got offered 2 scholarships, 2 different colleges for her school, for her play of soccer. So she is valued. And we as a family tried every time. She would come home crying because he would dismiss her and he would shoot her down. And you're worth more than that, just don't even play for him. But she was determined not to let him ruin her senior year. Even though obviously he did. He had a very negative impact. And we begged every week, please protect my daughter. This is still happening. Every time we'd ask, it got worse. So I'm here to ask for some resolution, something to be done, him to be held accountable. And just because they won VOL, it's because there are so many competitive players on this high school team. All of the girls play for competitive teams all over this valley. So that's why they were winning, not because of how he coached. They won in spite of him. So I just ask to please protect our students. How we are protecting this adult male over these teenage girls who are straight-A students who do everything that they're asked to do. And we are protecting this adult male. He's not a man, because no man would treat a teenager this way, who's given him nothing but respect. You saw how she spoke up here. She is a very respectful girl, and she is never in trouble. She's a straight-A student. And I am appalled that she was not protected, even though I begged time and time again, protect your student. Your student should come first. So that's why we're here today, because we got nothing resolved. No action was taken. Not to mention the fact that he stole over $20,000, and we don't know where it is, and he has not been made to hold accountable for it. So we should be transparent about that as well. And that's because I brought that to light, is why he retaliated against my daughter.
Well, thank you for coming and speaking. Formal complaint process, or I
Yeah,
can?
we can follow up.
I turned in a formal complaint to all of this.
last year.
Over the summer, trying to get this resolved.
Okay, we'll be in contact.
Okay,
I turned it in.
all right. Thank you.
Joe Alves.
Which I was hopeful we can please take care of the board.
I haven't received one, but
Hello, my name is
we'll
Joe
make sure
Alves.
I was gonna say, we'll make sure we go through the proper channels and have it addressed. Okay.
Hello, my name is Joe Alves, father of Avery Alves and husband of Gina Alves, and it's hard to go over that. You know, everything that my daughter has done, she's an amazing athlete, amazing soccer player, and an amazing person. The part my wife was saying about the $25,000 was a big thing that I wanted to bring up, because we did a fundraiser during her sophomore year where he had said that he wanted to raise money for the club, and we did a raffle, beef raffle. Everyone was supposed to sell at least $400 in tickets, JV and varsity, and in that year we were keeping track of the money, and it was at $16,000, and he said he was going to be using it for the team. And even though we would ask, okay, hey, let's use that money for banners for the seniors. Nope, can't use it. Nope. And boosters wouldn't pay for it either, so parents had to pay for it. My daughter's junior year, he did it again, and it was $200 per player. So estimated, it was about $25,000 total. And that's a rough estimate.
on that because Kiko Maneras is the one that took care of all the money. I watched the day when they were bringing over the money. It was in envelopes, cash only. He said cash only for all the players. He didn't open the envelope, count how much money each player was given. It was just close the envelope, put in a stack, and ask them, hey, how much money we raised, what's going on? Nothing. Didn't receive any messages back, emails, texts, or nothing. This past year, when we had our meeting, I confronted him. I asked him, hey, where's the money from all the fundraising that we did this past year, the past 2 years? And he said, there's enough. That's all. I've asked the staff or the admin here at the high school about it, and they said that it wasn't a Oakdale soccer fundraiser, so we can't have no accountability on it. And we send over some of the emails with all the pictures and everything, put on Instagram, advertising about it. I have the videos of him pulling the tickets for Oakdale soccer on the winners of the day of, and nothing. All they basically do is give him a slap in the hand and continue. And I work for a city, and I know all that stuff has to be, it's public. And for them to do that and not say, I want the receipts, what the money was spent on, and nothing was said, nothing was done about it. He said he paid for plaques. We talked to boosters, they paid for the plaques. Paid for uniforms, nope, boosters paid for the uniforms. I paid for the banquet. Banquet was $500 each year. The meat was donated, and then the only thing that we supposedly that he paid for was pop-up tents. The money. I don't know how much that cost. Asked for a receipt, nothing. So that was the other concerns that I have with Kiko and the way he handles the stuff here at the high school. So, thank you.
Thank you.
I can just reiterate that the formal complaint process comes in, the investigation occurs, a written findings report is typically provided back to the complainant. The district does have restrictions. It cannot formally or publicly disclose personnel matter action. However, the response to the findings does go back to, or actually does go back to the complainant when a formal complaint is received. If there needs to be some clarification in regards to that response, or if there's some additional information that can be brought forward that the district can investigate, the district's happy to do so. We'll go through that investigation, a formal written response will occur. But again, any type of action we can't mention it or disclose it in public, and it can't be a part of what's disclosed to the complainant, the action itself. But the board and the district takes allegations of this sense very seriously. And again, Mr. Sanchez can reach back out and make sure that we get a full understanding of the complaint, make sure that the formal process is submitted with the details and the evidence, and then we'll assure that a written response will be returned with the findings.
Appreciate that. One more.
Maria Vigil.
Good evening, everyone. So unfortunately, I'm going to piggyback from Mr. and Mrs. Elks. It is really upsetting to stand here and what I have heard and learned tonight. As we started enduring retaliation against our daughter, Mia Hernandez. Tonight, I am Mia's voice, and I'm going to continue to speak up. Mia is a sophomore. Her freshman year, she was a JV player along with Cassandra, her sister, which was a junior at that time. Or I'm sorry, a sophomore at the time. They played together under JV. Mia ended as defensive player. Cassandra as MVP, and it's no surprise to anyone. My girls are known for their talent in this community. They've been because Mia specifically has been part of our club for 10 years. She took a small leave and went to San Jose Earthquake, where she was a goalie and a keeper, and she drove that team forward to championships. Mia came back to Oakdale. And ever since then, she's done amazing with the team, including last season. She played a tremendous role as a center back defender, so she's done different roles. With that said, they ended in first place in league. She's very well respected by the club, by her former coaches, by her teachers and peers, including her teammates. She's very well respected, and she's never been considered a distraction in any way. If anything, she takes her role seriously. Recently, Mia tried out with about over 80 players from all over California in northern Sacramento. She made it PDP first top defensive center back. She is currently with the PDP program, whose coach has a very high reputation, who is co-owner of the league, along with a player from Mexico, the Mexican Federation, who is also a star player, a celebrity, I'll say. With that said, Mia, that league or that PDP program is in part of the Federation for Mexico. Mia will be playing in the summer. And this coach is also somewhat part with MLS and other distinctive leagues. This is an opportunity that very rarely comes our way, and Mia is an inspiration to our community. She's going to open doors for other kids and students that are here that want to drive for more. She's been retaliated. She's also fought retaliation. Our story starts, if I want to be honest, it's going back to the summer. Kiko many times tried to scout her into varsity before varsity tryouts even occurred, and I think this is really what set him up. It was me challenging him and telling him that my girls are not spoiled. They work for what they have gained. You don't give them a free ticket. I appreciate it, but you don't. When tryouts come, I want fairness. Mia will try out, and if she makes a grade, and what if she doesn't? Maybe she wants to be in JV again. He tried to scout Cassandra as well, who is my junior. Eventually, tryouts happened. Before tryouts occurred, Kiko sent a message to the girls privately saying that he had assigned a player jersey, a number. I didn't understand why, because they hadn't tried out. Why was he trying to reach out to players to try to pick jersey numbers when tryouts weren't here yet? I told him that I wasn't appreciative of it, but I also questioned the jersey number that Cassandra had at that time. Something very dumb, but I already knew the intention behind it, so I wanted clarification. He was never able to answer my question. At the end of the day, the jersey number that Cassandra picked was the same jersey number that she had during her JV years, her varsity year prior to that, because as a freshman she played varsity too, and he continued to bench her. Now comes this year, he assigns her a jersey number of second pick, second choice. She had this number for 2 consecutive years, but it so happened that the player that got the jersey happens to be the daughter of the father who had approached me, Cassandra, last year and had told her in one of the games at the finals, make sure you don't pick number 10 because I want that for my daughter. This parent was seen around with Kiko all over town during games from the club. He was presented with the parent constantly showing up to games. He had nothing to do with the club. And it started to draw my attention after that comment during that game. Came season, and sure enough, it was that player number jersey that was assigned to that specific player and not Cassandra. I'm not here about a jersey number. I'm here about the intentions behind it. That's what I'm here for. Mia served her time in bench for having attended LA. We discussed it with the school. We discussed it with SIF. We knew that the girls were going to have to sit and bench for six consecutive games, I believe it was. We understood. No one was against it. We were just trying to find out facts, making sure that facts were present and that no one was sabotaging the information, making sure the information we presented was valid and that the ruling took place. Mia served her time and that was lifted. I didn't know this until after that. The players had been mentioning that Kiko had been heard multiple times saying that these girls were not going to get playing time, that he was going to make his point clear. I understand that they try to work their way back into the team, but Mia never missed a practice during her bench time. She was always there, always supportive, and none of her teammates considered her a distraction. If anything, she was uplifting. She helped the team drive forward too as a center back D. But yes, she was benched and retaliated. I never questioned Kiko for playing time. I sent emails to Mr. Sanchez. We actually sat with him over a second incident. And the biggest concern here is when the first incident occurred, it was in December, he was yelling at Mia, his aggressive approach. And the way he was yelling at her was frustrating, and I didn't know this until we left the field. And the reason why I found out was because Mia brought it up discreetly, and then a parent that was there came forward and told me about it. I sent an email, I called the school and spoke to Mr. Mike Moore, During the conversation, and as I started to approach that it was a complaint, it had nothing to do with SIF ruling, I was calling for something else, I was told clearly that there had never been a complaint by this coach, if anything, compliments. I didn't know Mr. and Mrs. Elves, nor did I know that there had been a formal complaint put before. But during the conversation, it started getting very confrontational the minute that I started saying that I had a verbal complaint over this coach and I wanted to be investigated and addressed. That I had a parent come forward and it was part of that incident. They gave me what I call excuses because they circled back to me and told me to send it by email. I sent it by email. Emails came back and forth only to say, well, this doesn't get addressed here. It goes addressed to the district. There was that gap from when they went into winter break. I resumed. Another incident occurred. We sat with Mr. Sanchez, talked about it. I briefly brought this up, but Mr. Sanchez confirmed that there was never a complaint that was brought to his table. So where's the drop? Where's the ball being dropped? They're burning bridges. They're not creating a bridge for us to be able to communicate. I'm going to say I have 6 kids, and all of them have been part of the school. 4 have been outstanding athletes with the club, the school. 1 of them is part of charter, stray student. Our family has been part of the community, including Riverbank. How am I going to sit here after 20 years of being part of this community and tell you respectfully that I've never had an incident, I've never had anything that has not gone attended at the first level and addressed and fixed. I've never had an issue with any staff member, and I'm talking about 6 children. How many kids have they? How many teachers have they gone through, and how many coaches? Different sports. And here we are, right behind Mr. and Mrs. Elves, encountering all these issues to be able to raise our voice and have him looked into. I never asked for anyone to remove him from his role. I never did. I never questioned his minutes. He's the coach. I asked for respect, transparency, and these issues to be addressed immediately. Unfortunately, Mia and Cassandra come behind Avery because nothing was done at Avery's level. And I don't believe that it stops right here. I have heard that there's been other players that have been affected, but they're afraid to come forward. I can't speak on their behalf because I'm not their parents and I'm not their advocates. It's their responsibility. But I am Mia and Cassandra Hernandez tonight. I'm going to continue to be Mia and Cassandra Hernandez. I've committed a lot to Oakdale. My children have graduated from here and they're successful children. I'm not going to give up right now over a coach, and I'm not going to be quiet and hold back. We're going to be heard, and things have to be addressed and have to be done. Thank you for your time.
So again, I would say same thing that applies to them. Make sure that, or even before the end of the night, we tie in with you, and we'll make sure that we follow the proper formal complaint process.
That's all we're asking for. That's all we've been asking for since day one. I got a letter back saying we will continue this employment. That's the only thing that I got in response to my own. Other than that, emailing back and forth, Mr. Sanchez, but as far as the formal complaint, it was just, we're going to continue this employment.
Okay.
We're happy with the soccer program.
You guys should be. The soccer team did amazing this year.
The program, yes,
So-
but this shouldn't be allowed. I mean, she's an outstanding student and an outstanding athlete, and just to have somebody tear her down is unacceptable.
If I may, just to clarify for the public and for anybody who's watching, if you have any questions about the complaint procedure, please go to our website, because at the very different areas of our website, even on my page, but in different areas on all sections of the website, it does refer to a complaint policy, the board policy, as well as uniform complaint procedures could be found on our website if you have questions.
And we have that, we did follow all of
Yeah.
this.
Okay. Well, I let that go a little longer than 20
Yeah,
minutes,
one
but.
more.
And one more, okay.
Erica?
Is this also in regards to women's soccer? I don't mean to cut you off, but we are well beyond the 20-minute marker. Can we make it quick? Okay, thank you.
So my daughter is a freshman, McKenna Duenas. She made the varsity team as well. She also got placed with Mia Hernandez on the PDP player development program, and she was also retaliated against. Misinformation was given to the CIF by Kiko Maneras only after he had spoken with the head development coach, asking for his previous Ajax players to make that team that our girls got recruited for. And when he was told repeatedly that he was not able to do that, this was a scouted position, for our girls to play for the American national team, Mexican American national team in Mexico this summer. He retaliated against our girls and took it to the CIF board. Prior to that, both of our girls, Mia and McKenna, played 80% of each game. And because they were suspended for 6 games for going to LA, our girls stuck it out. And they showed up to every single practice, they cheered on their team, and didn't miss. They went to every single game and sat that bench and cheered their team on. After that 6-game suspension, they were still not playing. They were told that they weren't going to play. They were talked about when they weren't around. And throughout every single practice as well as some games, he was showing up smelling of alcohol. He was talking to the girls in a very belligerent way. He would curse at them, call them names, and a lot of girls won't speak up because fear of the retaliation that other girls are getting, including the 3 of our daughters that are here tonight. I have emailed Bocci, the athletic director, as well as Mike Moore, as well as Sanchez, and there's nothing that's ever been discussed. Like, I've never gotten to sit down with anyone face-to-face and direct my concerns toward them. I know Sanchez had come back to me and said that he was out sick, and I get that, but nothing has ever been discussed. Back in December, Maria had discussed the incident that happened. I actually walked up on the incident that happened where Mia was being yelled at and hands waved in her face. And I said, this conversation's over. You're going to talk to a parent now because she's a child. And my daughter was there as well, with him in her face as well. The entire conversation was him yelling and waving his hands at me right after the game that had just happened and cutting me off every chance he got. I did not get very much spoken. I had addressed it later, a couple days later, and through text because he doesn't answer phone calls. And he came back, and I believe he was spoken to because I did email Bocci as well as Moore. And he came back apologizing profusely through text messages and saying that was never his intention. However, he did do those things. So I concur with everything that the mothers and parents have said. But something needs to happen because our girls are not being protected. They are every practice being belittled, and he shows up in a belligerent manner. I mean, they should not be showing up as showing up in an environment with him in that manner. There was also an incident.
We're at 3 minutes. Thank you. I don't mean to cut you off, but. Yeah. And I think everybody on the board appreciates parents that are willing to be advocates for their children. So thank you guys for coming and saying something. But we got to keep moving.
My daughter for being brave enough to stand up and speak. That was
Yeah. Any more?
No.
Okay. All right, so moving on to the consent calendar. Did we already go through that? No. Removal of items from the consent calendar. Information concerning consent items has been forwarded to each board member prior to the meeting, excuse me, to the meeting for study. Unless some board member or members of the audience have a question about a particular item or items, ask that it be withdrawn from the consent list. The items will be approved at one time by the Board of Trustees. The action taken in approving consent items is set forth in the explanation of individual items. So adoption of the consent calendar, roll call vote for resolution. Or does anybody have an item they'd like removed? Sorry. Nope. All right, then adoption of the consent calendar, roll call vote. Can I get a motion?
Yes, I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
And a second?
Second.
Perfect. Terry Taylor?
Aye.
Tina Shatswell? Aye. Myself, aye. Bill Duval?
Aye.
Perfect. Motion passes. Moving on, 9.4 curriculum instruction students. Oh, actually, that's all consent. There we go. All right, 11.0, reports. 11.1, report on transportation home to school plan. Kat Songer.
Hello. How are you?
Good.
All right, so home to school plan. I'm here. All of these figures are based off of last year's numbers, so I just want to remind everyone of that. So we are here, and we are looking to get the reimbursement. The state will reimburse up to 60% of our expenditures, qualifying expenditures. And so this year we're looking at $814,000 that we can get as a reimbursement in our expenditures. So that's always a plus. The qualifying criteria for this is identifying our TK through 6th graders at our 4 elementary sites. We're identifying that they live more than 1/2 mile or 1.5 miles from the school, and we're checking their criteria to see if they're eligible by checking to see if they are low income, free and reduced lunch, if they have disabilities, homeless foster youth, and English learners. So that's any student that can qualify for this that we need to make sure that we're maintaining transportation for. Last year in our numbers, we gave at least 1,256 students fell into at least one of these categories. Some are duplicated numbers. We provided 8 general ed routes for them to drive or ride, and then 6 sped routes for them to ride as well. So we're going to continue that this year. When we were doing that, we actually went 253,554 miles in our school buses getting these students home to school. So I think that's a great thing, and we did it just in style with class. With getting them to school, we had 22 diesel engine buses at the start of last year. 10 of those 22 had shoulder lap belts. We have 1 gasoline bus pictured in the bottom below. It is a gasoline sped bus, and it has a lap shoulder system. With the gracious approval from the board last year for us to purchase new buses, we now have 22 diesel engine buses, and of those 22, 17 of them have lap shoulder belts, which is just phenomenal. It's really helping with not only passenger management, but the safety of it as well. It's great. Also, last year when I came and did my board report, I talked to you about bus right and implementing it. We have fully implemented it, and the results are fantastic. It's been transformative for our transportation staff. We have a significant reduction in phone calls. Parents receive precise, and up to every 2 seconds, they're getting a notification that's showing them where their bus is, if there's a delay, if there's a change. All of us are very aware that there's a lot of construction going on around the district office, and we are literally sending out notes almost daily, having to change those routes because of different road closures. So it has been just a phenomenal purchase, and we hope that it continues to help our families. Lastly, I would just love to encourage our Mustang Mover families, if you're not utilizing the Bus Ride app, please do. It's hooked up to your Aries email address that you have, that you signed up for your students at your Aries whenever you joined the school district, or in July when we did the data confirmation. If you have any questions on that, please contact transportation, and we will get you signed up and ready to roll. I just signed up 4 people today. It was fantastic. So lastly, just to recap, we're identifying areas with the highest number of unduplicated students. We're going to utilize our funds that we're receiving from Home to School to pay back those gracious bus purchases, and hopefully one day pay back the impact that we're having on the general fund being transportation. And so we're looking to start next year off with the same thing, 8 gen ed buses, 6 gen ed routes, and hopefully we'll get everybody to school in style, and the future plan is always flexible. So thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, just real quick. Have you noticed with this bus right that you have less children that aren't being met? You know, you have to have the kids that are met, that are the kindergartners, so on. Has that happened at all?
Kindergartners and TK always have to be met. That's just a district policy because we don't want the littles. But not that we're not being met, but it has definitely, when I'm receiving phone calls from parents, they are definitely, the ones that utilize it all the time, they are just overjoyed because they know And even with the older students, I have older students myself, you know exactly when that bus is coming. We just had one parent actually this afternoon before we left call and say, did my kid get dropped off? And we said, yeah. And she goes, yeah, I saw that it did it at 4:58 or whatever the time was. And her student hadn't been home, wasn't answering the phone. And so we let her know that we checked with the bus driver. Yes, this said student got off the bus, walked directly towards the house down the dirt road, and then mom said, okay, I'm going to call the cell phone again. And she said, I know she's home. I saw the bus was there, but she's probably just ignoring me. And so it's definitely been a huge help, and it's even helped with our mechanics with breakdowns, things like that. They have in their shop truck, they have the same kind of iPad that our bus drivers are utilizing. They have that pad so that they can type in where the bus is, and they can go straight to it. So hopefully lessening the delay of transferring students and getting another bus out there.
That's wonderful.
It really is. It's been fantastic.
And was that your idea to get that?
No, actually, Kyle Lawrence was the one that found it on a podcast.
Thank you, Kyle.
Our lead mechanic. Can't take the credit.
I actually have a question too, sorry. But what, really, I was just kind of curious, what percentage of parents aren't utilizing the app? And is there a way we can probably get that message out or kind of help encourage them to do that?
Well, I was hoping that at the board meeting, reminding them would be a great start. We do at the beginning of the year in our data confirmation packages, we do send that paper that describes what it is in that packet. Honestly, it's kind of word of mouth. Every time that we get a parent that's calling saying, do you know when my bus, especially, we run into a lot of those issues on minimum days because we do move bus routes around for our TKers and our kinders. So that's typically when we get the most calls, and I can say that my office staff has been really great at, they help the parent, and then they say, do you utilize the bus ride app? So anybody that calls is getting asked that question, and so, yeah, maybe we can post it. I mean, I'm up for any idea. Maybe we can send out a reminder at our December. When we send things out, we're trying not to put a hindrance on the DO. Hey, can you send out this dialer? We're just sending out to, and it does send out, it has the option to send out to unregistered parents. So we are clicking that button when we are sending out, hey, we're moving this bus stop from 3rd and H at the taco truck. We've moved it to 3rd and I. I do always click the unregistered parents as well. So hopefully that's getting to them on the email. The only thing is with the email, if you haven't went in and marked it not spam, it may be going into your spam folder. That's the only thing that we've run into that has been an issue that we've pinpointed. And now we say, please check your spam folder. And if it's not there, call us back.
Perfect.
No problem.
So if anybody's watching this on YouTube right now,
Yes.
pause, go to the Aries app, download the app.
You don't have to download
Go to
the Aries
Aries.
app. It's linked to your Aries. As a
Account.
parent, I put in Mama Cat Gmail. And so when my student, JC, is registered at a bus stop, it automatically assigns me to JC and JC to that bus stop, and then it sends me, if I have not signed up for it, it sends me an email that says, hey, you can utilize BusRight, please download the app, because it's an actual app on your phone that you follow, that will alert you.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Now they have no excuses, we did it. It's right here, yep.
And I'd like
Hopefully they
to
pause.
publicly say, thank the transportation department, our bus mechanics and everything. But safety, security is the utmost priority for that group. Bus drivers, so conscientious about taking care of their kids. Just a public acknowledgement to the department for that. Thank you.
Yep. All right, 11.2, report on district response to the credible and non-credible threats. Catherine Medlin.
Good evening to the board and everyone who made our meeting tonight. This evening I'll be reviewing the guidelines that the district has in place for responding to a school threat. These protocols are crucial to ensuring the safety and well-being of our students and staff, and it's important that we understand them thoroughly. Unfortunately, it's inevitable that schools receive threats directed against students and staff and sites. To address this, our district has established protocols designed to effectively assess and respond to these situations. The purpose of this update is to inform the board and our community about the specific actions and responses that have been implemented at the site level. So we'll start with defining a threat. In order to respond to situations, we first must understand the difference between the types of threats that our schools are usually dealing with. We have verbal threats. These are statements issued with the intent to cause fear or intimidate others. We have written threats. These are written statements or communications indicating harm or danger towards individuals or institutions. Physical threats are actions or behaviors that create a perceived risk or harm of injury. We have cyber threats, which are digital threats or behaviors on social media platforms that instill fear and danger. And then we have implied threats, and I'll give you some examples of that. Indirect language, such as you may want to watch your back, or raising a fist or making an aggressive motion, or ambiguous statements such as, it would be a shame if something happened to you. Our district will consider all types of threats as credible, and any threat will be investigated immediately. So this is our education codes. The majority of our threats will be addressed under California Education Code 48900.4, which pertains to intimidation, intentional threats, and harassment. This is what it's explained in that very tiny print on this slide. But we also have other relevant education codes that may also apply, including 48900A1, which is threatening to cause physical injury, and 48900.7, making terroristic threats, which include bomb threats. Our district maintains a strict policy that any threats made against the students, staff, or school property will be taken seriously. Students involved in making such threats may face suspension and in some cases expulsion. Additionally, students making these threats may be subject to criminal prosecution. So it's extremely important for students and parents to understand the severity of making these threats and the possible ramifications. So reporting a threat. All threats made towards individuals or educational institutions should be immediately reported to both law enforcement and school officials. It's important to provide all relevant details regarding the threat. We also have our Stop It app. So students and parents have access to our Stop It app, which allows for anonymous reporting, and that can be found on our school and district websites. But in the event of immediate threats, we would like for parents to contact Oakdale Police Department. So this is law enforcement's response to threats. Once a report is made to law enforcement or school officials, one will notify the other, and each will conduct a thorough investigation into the threat. Law enforcement will assess whether the threat is credible. If the threat is deemed credible, schools will immediately notify parents to keep students at home via a phone dialer. However, if students and staff are already on site, the school will implement safety protocols, which may include a lockdown, securing the premises, or evacuating the building. Investigations conducted by OPD after school hours may result in a later notification to school administration. When law enforcement are initiating an investigation, all threats are considered credible until proven otherwise. The nature and severity of the threat will be assessed. The individual's history and potential motivation will be taken into consideration. Each investigation will follow its own timeline. We will promptly notify families and staff as soon as we have relevant information. Our school response. Each situation is unique and requires careful assessment. Immediate action will be taken to prioritize the safety of students and staff. When notifying families and informing staff about an incident, we are committed to providing the most accurate and detailed information available. In the event of a threat, different levels of security measures will be implemented. This may include the presence of police officers on site, lockdown securing schools, or evacuating buildings. Each of our campuses regularly practice drills and follow established protocols to effectively respond to emergencies. So some key points for parents to remember. We want all suspicious activity reported as soon as possible. This is important, refraining from posting on any social media platform, especially prior to notifying schools or police department. Schools will notify families as soon as accurate information is available. Parents and guardians should monitor their children's phones and social media activity, maintain open and ongoing communication with your children regarding events at school and friend groups. In conclusion, the safety and well-being of our students, staff, and families remain our top priority. Through continued vigilance, collaboration, and proactive planning, we can ensure a secure learning environment for everyone. We appreciate the support of our families, staff, and community in keeping our schools safe, and will continue to work together to address concerns that may arise. Thank you for your ongoing partnership in maintaining a safe and positive school environment. This is my contact information, so if there's any questions or concerns that you have, or any questions that you have regarding this presentation tonight, please feel free to contact me at any time.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
We have 3 parents who submitted a request to comment on this item.
Oh, go ahead.
Brandon Jones?
So basically what you're saying, if you get the threat the night before, we're not gonna know until the next day sometime in the afternoon?
No, it would not be the next day in the afternoon.
But let me address this real quick. This is not going to be a question and answer. You have an option to speak for 3 minutes and say something, but we're not going to do a back and forth.
Good. One, I don't agree with it because with what I'm seeing and with what I'm hearing is we're gonna know sometime after we're gonna drop our kids off. We need to know beforehand. And it should be us to know if we're gonna keep our kids out of the school or not.
I understand.
This is twice. One was a shooting, one was something else. Our kids are all parents is top priority.
I agree with you.
So with everything I'm hearing, it needs to be, as soon as the threat is made.
I understand that completely. And if my point with that, and I'll just address this because I think it's important. If we get it at midnight in the middle of the night, our SRO will find out as soon as possible. But if our SRO is out of town or we don't get the information until 8 o'clock that morning, we will get that information out. It won't be in the afternoon. We will make sure that that information gets out as soon as we hear it.
If it's made at midnight, there should be somebody available. If one person's out of town, it should go down the next. It's just like a business. You got the store manager, you got the managers, all in line.
I understand that. We're going to be in contact. I'm actually gonna be personally giving information to our PD department, our Oakdale PD, sorry, to make sure that they have somebody to contact so that information can get out if it wasn't given to the proper person in the given time.
Okay.
It is important. I agree with you.
Good?
Sarah Jones?
Hello, Sarah Jones. I have 2 kinders at Fair Oaks, and I didn't expect to speak. I put it in just in case I had questions, so bear with me. I don't have anything prepared. A couple points. Is it SR or questions? Is it SRO a senior resource officer?
School resource officer.
So if he is not available, there is no one holding his position while he's gone?
We only have one SRO. But the Oakdale Police Department always has officers.
Okay, so my concern is whatever the situation was on the most recent one, why it took a very long time for parents to be notified. If there is someone currently there at all times handling this situation. I heard with the transportation department, it's their safety and security is their utmost importance. As a mother, that is mine. So I do feel even if you believe something when you first receive it is not credible, to me it is. I don't care if it's a threat to trip somebody. I'm going to trip Sarah Jones' kid. Credible enough for me to keep my kid home that day. We went through COVID and every kid could be home for weeks at a time. So if there's a non-credible threat, I believe I should have the choice. So my request then for this is when the school receives a non-credible threat, could it be delivered to the parents that we believe it's non-credible? However, we want to inform you for transparency that we have received a threat, because it is my job to protect my children. And so if I'm known, given the information outside of school hours, I believe it's my job to not send them to school.
Okay, I know we're not really supposed to say anything, but I'm not sure that you understand how completely disruptive that would be in a school setting, because there are threats all the time. If you're saying so-and-so's going to trip somebody, we're talking all day long at an elementary
I'm saying
school.
directly to my kid. So if someone said.
But you didn't say directly to your kid, you said.
I did. I said it, I'm going to trip Sarah
Okay.
Jones' kid.
All right.
I'm not sure why I feel like, we appreciate all parents coming up here and speaking. It's
I
not
think that would be
respected
really a
to
good
me.
thing for you to speak to the superintendent about, so that maybe you could get on the same page about what we're talking about with credible threats. Or Mrs. Medlin, which she offered. I didn't hear what I thought I heard then if you said it was only about your own student. I thought you meant all parents
No.
should be told if there's some kind of a threat, whether it's credible or not. Okay.
If there's a school-wide threat, I'm saying I should
Okay.
know, but if there's one directly to my child and you deem it non-credible, I think it's my job to deem it.
I think that would be something really wonderful for you
It's all
to
I'm
talk to
saying.
Mrs. Medlin about.
So I try and come with a solution when I have a complaint. And my solution to this process that I really appreciate learning about today is that to let the parents know that there is we deem it a non-credible threat, but we would like to let you know so you can choose to either come pick up your kid or keep them home for the day.
That is included in the protocol.
But
If it's deemed a non-credible threat, a message will go out saying we've received a non-credible threat, just to let you know.
But I think if I'm correct, because my kids did not go to that school, the last one that was received, and I'm up here, so when it is at my kid's school, this is worked out, is that it was something known in the PM, and the parents were not notified till their kids were already at school. So that is my concern in this. So
It's-
I just wanted to
just
voice that.
reinforce it's
I do
part-
appreciate learning
part of our
about
protocol.
the process, though.
Thank you.
Caitlin Drader.
Hello, this was originally something that I brought up at last month's meeting that I'd like to follow up on this meeting. Action, according to this setup, right? Taken photos, action taken upon learning of a threat, contact law enforcement immediately. Notifies family as quickly as possible through the OJUSD automated telephone. I did not. I'm upset. Again, because February 10th, 2005, last meeting, I was here in front of all these folks, and I said, I have 3 first graders at Cloverland Elementary School. 3 of them in the same class. What, credible or not, all 3 of my kids are in the same class. Credible or not, something happens at that school, all 3 of my kids, all 3 of them, okay? 8:30 that morning, 2/10/2025, we got an email from the school. Cool, I already dropped off my kids, whatever. But some folks don't get the emails, we're not on email lists, we're not on. I'm a proactive parent, right? I get these things, it's fine, whatever. But I didn't get a phone call to my phone until 1:15. I pick up my kids an hour after that. So if I have a problem, Mr. Mendaka, I know that you're very approachable, and you have been, and Ms. Medlin, I appreciate you giving me a phone call this afternoon. But according to this spreadsheet, that didn't happen. So what happens? I sent my kids to school all day that day and didn't know nothing about it. Till I'm sitting in the pickup line and somebody on Facebook's like, what happened at Cloverland today? I'm sorry, excuse the hell out of me, what happened at Cloverland today? I'm mad. And if you tell me to bring it up to somebody, I'm gonna do that because I got 3 first graders and y'all had a long time with me. the process, you'll have a process, where's it at? Because I didn't get a phone call, we get emails. It's so frustrating because that's the second time in a full school year of my, like, babies are babies. This isn't the high school we're talking about, these are babies. And it's not happened before. So I'm not out of line here. Elementary schools, there are parents without their babies right now. Credible or not, that was a threat and it happened. I'm mad, I'm sorry, I'm so mad. Because I don't have people like that, right? I got Sarah showing up for me. There's 3 parents in this room. One of which my kids go to school with his sons. Sarah just happens to be another mom of multiples that gives about her kids and shows up and does all this stuff, and that's what all of us are here for. I would like if there's a protocol, let's do that. Let's do that. Because I want to know, because I'm not going to send the heart and light of my life to that school every day. I got a job. So if I got to quit my job to keep my kids alive, I'm going to do that. But I need my job to keep my kids alive. You know? So if there's a protocol, let's do that. If you got to call me, if you're going to call me and you're going to blow up my phone and you're going to text me about a minimum day, you're going to text me about ag day, you're going to text me about all this stuff, text me about the threat. I was getting hot earlier and I think I'm a little upset still, but like, you can tell me to go and have these conversations with all these folks all you want, but if you're not going to follow your own protocol, I don't know what to do. Anyway, before I get any more upset.
Thank you.
That's it.
Yep. We don't need to vote on that, though, do we? No. 12.3, ratification of tentative,
Action items, 12.0.
oh, sorry.
12.1.
12.1, approval of Citizen Bond Oversight Committee. Mr. Mendonça.
Okay, thank you. We had mentioned Measure G earlier, and with the passage of Measure G, the district is required to appoint an oversight committee to review bond expenditures for the purpose of ensuring that Measure G funds are spent on voter-approved projects. As advertised, the community members were invited to complete an application form and submit the application to the superintendent's office by February 14th. The board's required to select a committee that consists of no less than 7 members, but it may be more. Unfortunately, no district employees, well, not unfortunately, I should say, just to make sure I mention, no district employee, official, vendor, contractor, consultant may serve on the committee. Obviously, could potentially be a conflict of interest. Members may serve two-year terms without compensation, so this is voluntary, and those members may serve for no more than 2 consecutive terms. The committee must include, by law, by Proposition 39 requirements, the committee must include at least 1 member from each of the following groups. We need 1 member from a business organization representing the business community located within the district. 1 member must be on a senior citizens organization. 1 member must be from a bona fide taxpayers organization. 1 member is a parent of a child enrolled in the district. Another parent of a child enrolled in a district that is active in a teacher-parent organization. And then there are members at large that can be available to sit on the committee. Superintendent's office, we received 9 applications from the following individuals and the group they represent. I'd like to make that announcement today. So we appreciate the applications and the interest from Marty Faria, representing the Senior Citizens Organization, Sarah Jones, a local business organization, a parent of a child in the district, and who also sits on the parent-teacher organization. Eric Kilgard applied as a member at large. Mr. Tom Orvis, a local business organization, as well as applying for a member at large. Amy Russell submitted an application under a taxpayers organization group, as well as at large. Bianca Signorelli, I hope I said that right. Please forgive me if I didn't, an at-large applicant. Toby Stein, who's a parent of a child in the district, as well as at-large qualification. Jalen Ward, who's an at-large member. And Justine Wood, who represents a local business organization and who also has a child in the district. With those applicants, it's recommended that the board nominate and appoint the Citizens Oversight Committee for Measure G, Measure G, General Education School Bond. We could entertain nominations.
Right. Oh, I appreciate everybody that put in, and I
Yep.
think because we have 9 and we can have more than 7, I move that we accept all 9 for the committee. I would second that.
Second that? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Perfect.
I believe we have some of those folks here tonight. And if they wouldn't mind, if you would stand up and I could maybe identify, you could identify yourselves, that'd be great. Sarah Jones, thank you. Okay. Eric Kilgard in the back.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
Bianca Signorella.
Bianca, thank you for coming.
Marty Faria.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you very much. Appreciate all of you guys being willing to put your time in to make sure that we've got full transparency with the expenditures of our bond and that we keep our promise to taxpayers and to property owners. So thank you for spending that time to commit to us. We appreciate it.
All right, 12.2, approval of police services agreement, school resource officer contract with the, yeah,
I'm sorry, we
We did.
we did.
We voted. Yeah,
Yep.
you're good.
With the Oakdale Police Department and City of Oakdale. Catherine Medlin.
Our original school resource officer contract was last reviewed July 2016. Due to regular salary increases for police officers and rising operational costs, both the Oakdale Police Department and Oakdale Joint Unified School District have updated the financial terms of the officers' compensation. Under the new contract, the district will contribute 50% of the SRO's salary with a cap at a specific amount, and this updated figure reflects an increase that ensures the contract remained valid for several years. The new contract also outlines indemnity provisions to protect both agencies from potential loss or financial liability. Once the board approves this contract, if the board approves it, Chief Raymar will present it to the City of Oakdale for final approval. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the Police Services Agreement SRO contract with the Oakdale Police Department.
Perfect. Any questions? And going over that kind of same thing Sarah brought up, it was a 5-day, 8-hour day position, I believe. Is that correct? Correct. Okay. So it's not it's not staffed 24 hours. Yep. Okay. So if we got no other questions, can I get a motion?
No motion?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nay? Perfect. Pass unanimous. Catherine, thank you. 12.3, ratification of tentative agreement between OJUSD and CSEA. Jose Sanchez.
Hi. Good evening, President Skemper, Board of Trustees, and Superintendent Mendoza. As you know, the district has negotiated and reached a tentative agreement with CSEA Chapter 830. I would like to express my appreciation and recognize CSEA for their work in negotiations, as well as our negotiating team, for the open dialogue, honesty, and willingness to make an agreement that allows us to focus on supporting our students and our staff. The agreement includes a new contract language for the following articles, 3, 7, and 32. It is proposed that the one-time off-salary schedule payment be made as follows. Any employee who works 6 to 8 hours shall receive $4,000, 4 to 5.99 shall receive $3,000, and anyone who works less than 3.99 or less shall receive a $2,000 one-time off the salary schedule payment. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the one-time off the salary schedule and ratification of the contract for classified staff.
Perfect, thank you. Can I get a motion? Second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Perfect. 12.4, approval of, wait, we did that?
No, you're
Yeah.
You're ahead.
Approval of one-time off the salary schedule payment for ELP staff.
Our ELP staff is not represented by a bargaining unit. So the district has negotiated and reached a tentative agreement with OTA and CSCA. It is our interest to give the ELP the same salary increase as recognized by both bargaining units. It is proposed that the one-time schedule be the same as mentioned before. Any employee who works 6 to 8 shall receive a one-time $4,000. Any employee who works 4 to 5.99 shall receive $3,000. And any employee who works 3.99 shall receive less than $2,000 or shall receive $2,000 off the salary schedule payment. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the one-time off salary schedule payment for the ELP staff.
Perfect. Do I have a motion?
No motion.
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 12.5, ratification of superintendent's contract. Mr. Sanchez.
All right. The board met in closed session to discuss and approve the terms of an extension to the superintendent's contract. The term contract begins March 1st, 2025, and ends June 30th, 2028. Compensation includes a base salary of $259,800 and provides health and welfare benefits at the same level provided to the certificated employees, the annual cap contribution of $7,210. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees ratify the superintendent's contract. This action requires a roll call vote.
And we already did that, correct? Yes. Okay. So roll call vote.
Need a motion?
Oh, I need a motion.
I move that we accept the
Thank you.
the superintendent's contract through June 30th, 2028 as presented.
Can I get a second?
Second?
Roll call vote. Terry Taylor.
Aye.
Tina Schatzwell.
Aye.
Myself, aye. Bill Duval.
Aye.
And Diane Gilbert isn't present. All right, that passes. 12.6, approval of resolution 242512, reduction or discontinuance of service for classified categorical layoff. Mr. Sanchez.
All right. As mentioned before, the after-school program and safety ACES program, also known as OASIS, at Oakdale Junior High School is closing at the end of the 24-25 school year. Per Ed Code 45117, Section G, when classified positions must be eliminated as a result of the expiration of specially funded program, the employees to be laid off shall be given written notice not less than 60 days prior to the effective date of their layoff, informing them of their layoff date and their displacement rights, if any, and reemployment rights. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve Resolution 242512 regarding layoffs of ACES-funded positions due to lack of funding.
Can I get a motion?
No motion.
Second? This is also a roll call vote, correct? Terry Taylor.
Aye.
Tina Schatzwell. Myself, aye. Bill Duval.
Aye.
And Diane Gilbert isn't present. So that passes. Unanimous. Mr. Sanchez, thank you.
You're welcome.
12.7, approval of the 2024-2025 second interim report and positive certification. Cassandra Booth. Oh, you're over there. Fast.
I think I'm the last one on the night, and I know you guys are all tired, so bear with me as we get through this. The actual report, the written report, was posted on the district's website on last Tuesday, and has also been presented in the board packet tonight. I'm going to try to kind of get through this quickly so that we can all go home for the night. So we'll cover our fiscal cycle, overall general fund revenues, expenditures, multi-year projections, and what's coming up next. We are at second interim. So what second interim does is it, for our multi-year, projects what, based off of the governor's most recent budget that was just presented. It's all expenditures that we knew of as of January 31st, and it's for board approval in March. The biggest thing that we use our second interim for is our preparation for our next year budget. This is our budgeting season with our LCAP and multiple LCAP meetings, as well as when we're meeting with our principals regarding what they'll be doing with their budgets for next year. So we use our second interim as our basis to start our budgeting for next year. So it's a really key report that we have today. In our general fund, 82.6 million in overall revenue. Majority of that's coming through the LCFF formula. That included a 1.07 COLA this year. We also received Proposition 28 funds, LCFF equity multiplier, and of course it includes any prior year carryover or other one-time funds that we've received. Overall expenditures, 90.6. That includes step and column, our insurance and premiums, CalPERS, includes staffing we have as part of our Proposition 28. It includes our one-time funds and prior year carryover. One of the biggest things that's changed between our first and second interim was the board approval of all the one-time funds we've given to our employees, and that has been factored into this current budget. So overall, we did anticipate a deficit spending, and that's because of the one-time salary schedule that the board approved both tonight as well as in last January for our certificated staff. But we knew this was going to occur because we had a healthy reserve. So we wanted to share those reserves with our employees, and reserves are one-time funds, so we used it for a one-time payment for our employees. Talking about our multi-year. So let's talk what is a multi-year first. A multi-year is a projection based off of assumptions we're using at this point in time. Those assumptions do change as factors going forward change, but it is not necessarily what will occur. It's something that could occur based off of our current factors. One of the biggest current factors we all use is what's called the COLA. That's a cost of living adjustment on our LCFF revenue as well as some other funds. So if we take a look back, in 2023-24, the state enacted budget estimated our 25-26 COLA was going to be 3.29%. At that time, that would have given us 61.94 million. In the governor's budget projection for 24-25, so that was in January of 24, that COLA got reduced as an estimate for 25-26 to 2.73%. And got reduced again, or it went up and then it got reduced, and then it's estimated to be reduced again. We won't have the final cost of living adjustment until April when all the numbers come in. So for us, every time that COLA gets adjusted, our total revenue will change. So that's why a multi-year projection is just a one point in time estimate of what we could see in the future. So COLAs will change, and other factors change. So for this current multi-year, we are using a Department of Finance COLA projection of 2.43 for 25-26. We know it will not be 2.43. We already know that it's going to be probably closer to 2.08, but we're not sure what it is. It's just that's the last number that was officially given. And that was off of the governor's budget in January. We know our attendance has been declining, and it has been, our enrollment in particular has been declining. It's been declining about 1% every year for the last 4 years, about 1%, except for in our TK, because it's a full implementation of TK, which is moving those ages. We're getting a little younger and a little younger every year of the students we are serving in our TK. So outside of that, so we are anticipating continued decline. We're going to assume other flat federal, state, and local funds. We always take into consideration our step and column for our employees. We have CalPERS is still increasing, and we have other costs that are increasing, like our insurance, our utilities, and other operational costs. So taking all those factors into play when we look at our multi-year projection. So for 25-26, we do have a deficit in our unrestricted of 1.8 million. And then in 26-27 at just under $1 million. So that's in our unrestricted categories. We have a healthy reserve. We continue to have a healthy reserve. It is a deficit we know about because of that declining enrollment and declining attendance that we are constantly reviewing and looking at and making sure that we keep our eye on our financial condition. But we have a healthy reserve to be able to sustain us for quite a while, and for the time being, we'll say that. But some concerns that we have is at the governor's budget that he presented in January. The fires, well, let me back up a little bit. When the governor prepared his budget, he did it in December. The fires had not started at that point in time. So even though the governor's budget for the state of California was not released until January, it was developed before the fire started. So the state's budget did not consider the ramifications of that fire because it couldn't have. So the next governor's budget will be released in May and we'll have some more information. But just some things to be aware of is that majority of the state's revenue for personal income tax comes from the top 1% of earners in the state of California. Those 1% of earners, where 30 to 40% of them lost a home in that fire. More than likely, they have a second home, because we're talking 1%ers, right? They probably have multiple homes. But there's potential for them to not have their second home in California, which means they have left the state for the time being. Potentially. That's what the Department of Finance is currently estimating. Another thing to consider is that the state decided, in all its wisdom, to give people extra extension on their tax filings, right? And so instead of all of us paying in April, they got an extension on it. The LA County got an extension on filing their taxes. What happens is in April gives the governor on his May revise how the state's revenue is, because that'll be the revenue that we all collect in 2024 for the 25-26 school year for us, or fiscal year for him. He won't have those numbers when the May revise comes out. LA County is the absolute top economy in the entire country. Okay? It's also, if it was its own country, the 19th top economy in the world. So that's a huge.
When is
that economy is huge, huh?
When is that extension?
October. After the school year, after the fiscal year has started. So that is a concern since 80% of the school district's budgets comes from the state of California. So how the state's revenue will highly impact how our school district revenue will be for that following year. As I said, we have a reserve. We're doing okay. We're keeping our eye on where our programs are, what we need in our classrooms, but just something to be aware of. We don't have all the information yet of how the state budget's going to be playing out. But we will have some more when so some other impacts on our MYP. We talked about the state revenue. Our attendance, right now our enrollments continue to drop. We're keeping an eye on it. Minimum wage is going up again next January. And then, of course, our future contract negotiations with our partners will also, of course, impact our multi-year projection. But we'll have the May revise that'll be coming out. But in the meantime, our LCAP that Dr. Wagner is working on, as well as our budget that our principals and our site departments will be working on between now, will be presented in May and then June, and then our audited actuals will be presented to the board in September. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Questions?
No.
All right. All right, 13.0, information. Oh, we need a motion for that, sorry. Can I get a motion to?
I will motion, please.
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, 13.0, information.
Information, it is fourth quarter, it's springtime, and yeah, hold on tight. Nassau County Occupational Olympics, our high schoolers will be competing and are always very competitive that. That'll be happening this Thursday, right? This Thursday, to Turlock Fairgrounds, so I'm looking forward to that. 13.2, our Bandorama for the junior high and high school bands will be occurring in the Magnolia Auditorium that evening at 6:30 p.m. March 13th. 13.3 lists Magnolia Career Day, which will be Friday, March 14th. 13.4, our Science Fair Night with a Scientist is scheduled for March 19th at the junior high school, I believe it's in the gymnasium from 6 to 7 p.m. 13.5, our Oakdale Sports Boosters will be having a benefit dinner March 22nd at the FES Hall. That goes from 5 o'clock to 10 o'clock p.m. It's always a great time. 13.6, Future Ram Night. That is when sixth grade families come to the junior high to learn about what junior high has in store for them. That will be at 6 to 7 o'clock p.m. at the junior high school gymnasium on March 24th. Listed on 13.7, we do have a minimum day coming up on March 27th. 13.8, our Science Fair Awards Ceremony will be occurring at the Magnolia Auditorium March 27th. Mark your calendars for that at 6:30 p.m. 13.9, we have shows Cloverland's Ag Day will be held on April 4th. 13.10, Oakdale High School Drama Club Springs production of Mean Girls will be performing at the OHS Theater on Friday evening, April 4th, Saturday, April 5th, both at 7 p.m. in the theater. Sunday's a matinee at 2 p.m. Also the following week, April 11th and April 12th in the evening, Friday and Saturday, and then another matinee on Sunday, April 13th at 2 p.m. Lots going on. Take a breath. 13.11, registration for Expanding Learning Program is April 7th through 17th. Online registration for both the Summer Expanded Learning Program and the 25-26 After School Program is held during that period. 13.12, our Drum-O-Rama is for the junior high and high school percussion. Will be occurring on April 16th, 6:30 p.m., and that will be at the Oakdale Junior High School Gymnasium. And finally, we have our spring break beginning on Friday, April 18th, and running through Friday, April 25th. And then at the April meeting, we'll send some more activities your way, let you know what's happening after that.
Excellent, thank you. 14.0 items for next agenda. So 14.1, we'll go over, excuse me, the charter renewal petition, recognition of academic decathlon team, and the recognition of the Oakdale High School state wrestlers qualifiers. 15.0 items for future agenda. 15.1, the Vol Scholarship recommendation. That'll come in May. And 16.0. That's the conclusion of this one. So next meeting, Monday, April 14, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. Open session here at 331 Hinckley Avenue in Oakdale, California. That's it. Thank you guys for coming.